When I hear people talk about success as a writer, they talk about natural talent or they talk about luck, but I want to help you with the one thing you can actually control.
Writer original.
I'm JC Geiger. I wrote Wild Man with Disney Hyperion, and my next book, The Great Big One, will be out with Little Brown in July. But I didn't have much success in school learning to be a writer. So I wanted to do The Underclassmen to share with you the top lessons that I learned over 20 years as a working writer. Today's lesson might be the most important of all because it is about the most essential component of your success as a writer, which is your ability to control your time. I'll be talking about brain-based research, the power of habit, and even how to confront your arch nemesis in your quest to procure a defensible artistic space. Now, why do I use the term defensible? Because literally everything in your life is conspiring to take your writing time away from you. In a military-style siege, this is your parents, your coworkers. It's chores around the house, cute cat videos, push notifications on your phone. They will not stop. So what can you do in defense? Number one, use the time you have. So Octavia Butler, she said, write every day. Write whether you feel like writing or not. Choose a time of day. Perhaps you can get up an hour earlier, stay up an hour later, give up an hour of recreation, or even give up your lunch hour. The key to this is what is a period of time in your day that you can consistently get for yourself. I was writing Wild Man. I had two very young children in the house, and they had a bedroom that was between my office and the bathroom, and I could not so much as use the bathroom in the morning without waking them up. And morning was the only time that I had to write. So what I had to do was the very undignified writing routine of waking up at 6 in the morning, leaving my home very quietly, walking a block and a half to a sketchy porta potty, way sketchier than the porta potty in that picture, using it, and then walking back to my home to very quietly tap away at Wild Man. And it wasn't the routine I would have chosen, but it was the routine that got the book written. The key to this time was that it was consistent. Anne Lamott, Bird by Bird, she said, you try to sit down at approximately the same time every day. This is how you train your unconscious to kick in for you creatively. There's a good deal of research that says as much as 40% of what we do every day is anchored in habit. Now, there's an amazing book, Atomic Habits, which is all about basically how to trick yourself into creating routines and procedures in your life that actually make you healthier and happier and more productive. And the quote from that book, which I love, is, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Really, it's about how can you create a life in which you are so regularly writing at the same time that you come to miss it. And if you think this can't work for you, I can promise you it works for things far more miserable than writing.
Come on, y'all. Let's get it. Come on. I'm back.
Introducing Insanity Max.
Dude, so work. It's only 30 minutes.
I'm literally doing these workouts in my garage now because my wife convinced me to give it a try for a few weeks, and then I kind of got addicted. Like, I actually look forward to doing this now. So if it can happen with that, it can happen with writing. You need to establish a pattern that's so consistent that you begin just to crave it and to do it automatically. But in order to do that, you're going to need a place. So find a place and make it yours. Remember, we're talking about defensible artistic space here, and to do that, you need kind of a fortress. I really encourage you to think about, is the place that you're working right now really serving your best work? Maybe you're going to say, look, I don't have a door. I can't go to a coffee shop right now. And that's totally understandable. I worked for almost a year in a place where I was sharing a room with 3 other people. and I literally like thumbtacked a bed sheet to section off the space where I was working so I could feel like I had some privacy. And then when that wasn't enough, I Sharpied, my entire fantasy world that I was writing about on the bed sheet, which was very helpful and also made people stay away from me. Such a weirdo.
That's a weirdo.
I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be fancy. It can be, a bench in the park. It can be working from the back of your van. It can be a little fort that you build for yourself. Whatever it is that gets you to where you're doing your best work. And so that's your assignment. I want you to write for me what is your ideal writing space. This is something to strive for. And this can be in free verse. It can be a fantasy story. It can be flash fiction. However you want to write it. Send it to jc@jcgeiger.com, and I will respond to every person who submits an assignment to me before I drop my next video. Having your own space to write is really valuable in order to remove distractions. And people do this in different ways. One thing fascinating, your phone, just having it within sight on your desk, on your table, causes you to be less proficient at high cognitive load tasks. And there's a few studies about this. I'll throw a link on that down below. But think about that. It's amazing. Just taking your phone off your desk can actually help you be a better writer. And writers go to extremes with this. They draw the blinds. They unplug their internet connection so they can't even get online. Jonathan Franzen famously writes with noise-canceling headphones and his head in a giant potato sack. That might just be a rumor. I've talked to some writers who say they do a really great job of like changing up their brain chemistry by going from their story to the internet for research and back and forth. Look, no brains are wired the same. It's whatever works for you. But think honestly, what routine do you get in that is helping you get into that flow state where you're really tapping into the unconscious and you're really pulling up the good stuff that you're the most proud of, and try to replicate that scenario as much as you can. For me, I don't like distraction when I'm writing because it's like a well analogy. It's like could we get a less creepy well, Emily? I mean, it's like you just get like a nice, okay, right, like a well, right? So you lower the bucket, you lower it with writing exercises or with your first, 500 words. And then you finally get there and you're drawing the water up, you're drawing it up. And before you can get it to the page, if you get distracted, you let go of the rope and the bucket goes plummeting down to the bottom and you've lost it. And that can be really awful. So how do you avoid that? One thing I found is helpful is create visible boundaries. So I worked as a grant writer for years, and similar to writing fiction, you have to hold all these concepts in your head at the same time. You're just trying to put one sentence in front of the other, consistently making sense, and then someone helpfully drops by the office.
You apparently didn't put one of the new cover sheets on your TPS report.
I mean, this is like juggling like 5 balls somewhat successfully, and then someone like flips you a chihuahua. It's like not. Maybe some people can do that, but I can't. So when the rage quiets, and you take a breath and you try to understand other people, I mean, you realize most people do not have jobs where they're thinking like a fiction writer or a grant writer or a memoir writer. So it helps to give people signals. What I did for my grant writing job, I made this little sign. It was Jeff's current grant threat level. And I had these little Velcro things that said, approach with due caution, or busy but good. Oh, God. Every time.
Sounds good. Roll the tape.
Roll the tape. Busy but good busy. And so a yellow sign, a green sign, all these different signs. And it really worked. And now that I have kids, I did the same thing because I'm kind of a one-trick pony. I had my green, it's okay to bother daddy. I had my yellow where it's like, maybe it's okay to bother daddy. Then I have my purple. It's like someone better be bleeding. And it's not like it works every time. It doesn't. I mean, the kids still, they pound on the door. They paw at the door. Cry at the door. Ask daddy to come play. And then, you wonder, like, about your choices. Like, why are you sitting here writing make-believe words on a page that people might not ever read when real human beings are suffering for their parent, like right outside that door that you have closed? And when you have thoughts like that, I strongly encourage you to write them down, because that is fire for your best-selling memoir. I mean, people will eat that up. They will. Even if you have the place and time and a sign on your door, you may still be overrun with people and circumstances. In that case, I say, go ahead. Own the crazy. Okay, when Emily and I first lived together, she would like never come into my office to interrupt me. I mean, and this one time, people came over to say hello to me, and she didn't even tell me they were there. And I said, Emily, why do you never knock on the door or come in when I'm working? And she said, because you have crazy eyes, and I'm afraid you'll do something weird.
Distracting me, and it will then take me time to get back to where I was.
But then she said, really, it's because I know how important the writing is to you. And I said, how do you know that? And she said, because you tell me all the time. And that was a revelation for me. You know, I realized that the people around you take cues from you about how important your writing is to you. So 2 things. 1, don't be afraid to call yourself a writer. If you are writing regularly, you're a writer. Don't be afraid to own that. And also, it's like a writing cliche, but it's true. Show, don't tell. So you can tell people that you're a writer, but what shows people the most is that you're writing. And that means doing the work and not being distracted and being firm with the boundaries that you set. And so I'm giving you permission right here and now. It is okay to disappoint other people by saying no to what they want because you want to write. Your friends are disappointed in you. Fine, my friends are disappointed in me. Your kids are crying. My kids are crying too. It's okay. We are all doing the best that we can to be good people, good partners, good parents, while also giving our work the time and attention that it deserves. So let's say by some miracle, you finally get the time, you finally get the space, and you think you're safe, right? But then there's a ringing sound. And it's your arch nemesis calling. They found you. And the call is coming from inside the house.
Listen to me. We've traced the call. It's coming from inside the house. Our squad cars are going over there right now. Just get out of that house.
Look, don't be your own worst enemy when it comes to focusing on your work. You know? I mean, it's great to blame others. We do it all the time. Writers do it all the time. Blame the job, blame the family, blame circumstance, blame your lack of success, whatever it is. I mean, but think about it. How many writers have quit jobs, chased away perfectly good partners, alienated friends, moved across the country just to get this little jewel, this nugget of time? And then once they have it in their grasp, they spend it watching videos like this. Look, it's legitimately unfair for you and for all writers that videos this cute exist, but they do exist. And what I encourage you to do is when you have that time to write, think about every step, every sacrifice, everything you had to give away and change in your life just to get that moment of time. And when you get it, don't waste it. I mean, you've earned it. You've earned it. So don't do household chores. Don't give it away shopping for the things that you need to buy, or even watching YouTube videos. But if you like this one, please hit like, please hit subscribe. As you know, the writer ego is a fragile thing. Helps to feel that love and feel that support. So please do that if you can. If you want to submit an assignment, I would love to read it. I will respond personally. Send that to jc@jcgeiger.com. Again, the assignment is describe for me your ideal writing space or situation. Down in the description, I've included a link to the previous video where I have shared some highlights from the assignments that I really enjoyed. Go on and check that out. Before you go, I want to leave you with some of the best words about writing and the writing life from Mary Oliver. Here's what she has to say. There is a notion that creative people are absent-minded, reckless, heedless of social customs and obligations. It is, hopefully, true. The tire goes flat, the tooth falls out. There will be 100 meals without mustard. The poem gets written. I have wrestled with the angel, and I am stained with light, and I have no shame. Neither do I have guilt. My responsibility is not to the ordinary or the timely. It does not include mustard or teeth. It does not extend to the lost button or the beans in the pot. My loyalty is to the inner vision, whenever and howsoever it may arrive. If I have a meeting with you at 3 o'clock, rejoice if I am late. Rejoice even more if I do not arrive at all. I think what Mary Oliver is saying is stop wasting time and write something beautiful. See you soon.